PsychicWorld.net with John G. Sutton. Today I'm going to talk about a near-death experience that I actually endured when I was a young man of 19 years of age. I'd recently joined the British Army and I was stationed at Senilager, which is a small town near Paderborn in Westphalia, Germany. And it was early December of the year 1968. There was at the time around Europe a problem with an influenza outbreak that they call the Spanish flu. Now, I knew nothing about this. I just knew that one day I was extremely unwell. So, reluctantly, I reported sick and was seen by the regimental doctor, who decided that I had a serious flu, a serious influenza, and that I should be admitted to hospital. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally am not a great fan of being in hospital. So I said, listen, please, I don't want to go into hospital. I'll be all right if I can just rest. He said, okay, 7 days. He signed me off for 7 days. He said, you stay in your bed. He said, and you give this note to your commanding officer or sergeant major in charge of the barrack block. He said, and they will get the other soldiers to provide you with meals whilst you're in bed. Which is all well and good. It sounds like it would work. You're in your own bed. All right, you're in a barrack block, but you are allowed to recover. Except the other soldiers who were supposed to be bringing me food and drink, water, and all the rest of it, they thought I was swinging the lead, taking the piss in effect. I wasn't. I was extremely ill. And this particular night, I was obviously slipping into some kind of coma. And of course, my colleagues, my fellow soldiers, just thought I was having a laugh. So it transpired that I found myself standing at the foot of my own bed, looking at my prone body, flat out in the bed. And a voice said to me, "Where do you want to go, John?" And I realised then that I was free. I could go anywhere in the world. So, being a young man of 19, I thought, I know, I'll go and see the Taj Mahal. Instantly, just like that. I was standing in front of the Taj Mahal, and I had to walk round the grounds. There were people there, but they didn't interact with me. Obviously not, because I wasn't in a physical body. I was in what they know as an etheric body, or my spirit body. So I had a look round the Taj Mahal for a short while, and then the voice said to me, "Where do you want to go to now, John?" I said, "Well, I'd really like to see the Eiffel Tower." Boom! Suddenly I found myself at the Eiffel Tower. I wasn't just at the Eiffel Tower, I was on the platform at the top of the Eiffel Tower, and there were many people mingling around me, and I was walking among them, walking normally, as I thought. I didn't know, but nobody was paying any attention to me, not at all. Nobody interacted with me, but I was looking out over Paris and at the Eiffel Tower, and it was quite a thrilling experience. And then the discarnate voice said to me again, I could hear it, said, "John, where do you want to go?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to go and see my grandparents. They live in Folridge in Lancashire." Right. Next thing you know, it wasn't just like that. It was quick, but it was more like you see Superman flying, you know? And I was flying over England, flying in the air, you know? And I came to Earth approximately 3/4 of a mile from my grandparents' home. And it was on a junction. I see it regularly because I go past there. And it felt as if I weighed about 10 ton. Oh, I couldn't hardly walk. I was so heavy. And as I'm standing there thinking, you've got to do something here, John. You go into your grandparents. And a vision came before me. It was a beautiful lady in a long, flowing white gown. She had long, dark hair. And she smiled at me, and I just felt this overwhelming sense of safety and love and affection. And she said to me, John, you've got a choice here. Do you want to go on and see your grandparents, or do you want to go back to your body? And I thought about this. I only thought for a second or two, and I thought, what's going to happen, I wanted to go and see my grandparents, but I knew that I had to go back to my body. So I said, I will return to my body. And she said, give me your hand. And I reached out, and she took my hand, and instantly I woke up, and I was on the floor. I'd fallen out of my bed in the barrack block, and I was strapped between the bed and the radiator, which wasn't particularly warm, by the way, and I was on the floor. But when I woke up, the fever had broken. And I managed to get myself back into bed. The next morning I was very weak, but I managed to get myself dressed and get something to eat and drink, because I hadn't really had anything to eat and drink for days, because the other soldiers had thought I was swinging the lead. And so that was my first near-death experience. But what would have happened if I'd said, no, I won't go back to my body, I'll go on and see my grandparents? Where would I have been? I believe that was the moment when I was given the choice between life and death. And that was my first near-death experience.